Welcome to the Brotherly Ballers podcast with your hosts, Jack Vickers and Tyler Herman.
What up, ballers? Welcome back for another edition of the Brotherly Ballers that I still can't get used to saying. So
Me neither.
we have rebranded. If you haven't caught along or didn't follow up with the off season, then you're not a cool dynasty player like us, but at least it's time for redraft in normal leagues. So I'll throw it to my co-host, Tyler. We are in week one. We're a day away when this comes out, technically. So how are you feeling with football almost back?
Oh, it feels so good. It's always such a long off season, and Dynasty is always so fun, but it doesn't get real until tomorrow. Now we get the first ever Friday night game too, so that'd be awesome for Eagles and Packers as well. But obviously look forward to Thursday night. See you repping the Ravens jersey already. I know Jack is 100% taking the Ravens over the Chiefs, so put it on the board. I can see it.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just excited football's back, so it gets real tomorrow.
And all of our takes and sounding smart go right out the window. So that's perfect.
100%.
We were just talking about the number of leagues that we're in together alone, plus the ones that we aren't. So I'm in way too many leagues and drafts. I think every night I was like, "Hey, honey, I have another draft tonight," and she's like, "How many are you in?" I'm like, "I don't have that kind of time." So thank God drafts are over, and at least I can look at my teams until they all fall apart. But
exactly,
we got that. If you're listening now, we're on YouTube. That's our primary spot. So continue to check us out. Subscribe if you want. We're going to be going into weekly episodes finally now that the season started and we have stuff to talk about. So be on the lookout for those. We'll try to get a short or two here and there throughout the weeks for fun little bite comments. But if you can like or especially comment, give us a shout out or a thought of like, hey, this player, that player, start sit stuff. What do you think of my teams? We love doing team grades and draft grades and that kind of stuff. Just any kind of comment to give us some kind of stuff to talk about is fun. So we appreciate that. We're at our official handle of youtube.com/@thebrotherlyballers. So you can find us there. Last episode, we did all of our my guys and then bye guys, diamonds in the rough, stuff like that. So you can check our players that we planted the flags in, so to speak, for the season. And we did a last mock draft of the season, which it's, again, all out the window now, but it was fun stuff. So go check that out. And we appreciate you listening. So getting into stuff, because we're just going to go right into it. No silly games this time because we have so much to talk about. But we're going to go into the NFL news side of things. So we'll just start, as always, with the Vikings 60-second synopsis. So I got myself a drink here ready to talk about us because our season's already ended before it's begun. But we'll still talk. I mean, maybe we can start off the season good. So we won't go into like how we're going to finish division wise and everything because we're going to cover that later. But for now, kicking off at noon this Sunday at the Giants. What are your initial thoughts going in?
I mean, it should be a win for us. I mean, everybody knows Giants are kind of in rebuild mode. They let Saquon walk, and really the only guy they have is Malik. And Daniel Jones has shown that he certainly was not worth the contract that he got. So, I mean, it should be a win for us. I think it's a relatively close spread, about probably -3 or something around that. Haven't looked recently, but honestly, it should be a win for us. Sam Darnold is plenty serviceable. We have the weapons. We are way better offensively and defensively than them. So hopefully we can just travel on the road, take care of business, and be 1-0.
What do you think would be like the key factor of what makes or breaks us winning this game? Like, is it a position group on one side or the other? On the Giants side,
I mean, for us, I think, just like any, I think it's just kind of getting Sam Darnold into a flow more than anything. It's kind of been a while since he's started and been like, hey, you're the guy, you've got the range. So I think getting him early, easy, comfortable throws is going to help him get into that rhythm. It's always great to say, hey, we want to establish the run game. It opens up the pass, all the cliches and things like that. Get Sam Darnold 2 or 3 easy completions to JJ, quick little out routes, whatever it may be, quick little screen routes to get started. Just get him in the rhythm of, hey, week 1, this is my team. I've got the reins. And I think that'll kind of help settle everything down and get us rolling.
Yeah, I like that. I'm very excited and hopeful to see Darnold do well. Like, I don't have expectations for the season, obviously, but it'd be cool to see him, get a real shot, have the best weapons he's had. For me, you talked about Daniel Jones before. I think the big X factor is just whether or not we get after him in the pass rush. I think Daniel Jones is like number 1 in the league as far as quarterbacks you can rattle and get to make mistakes. So we spent a lot of money. We brought in a lot of new faces. Obviously, we lost Danielle Hunter this past offseason. So what that defense is going to look like under Flores again. But I think if we can get after him early and often, we won't have to rely on our depleted secondary. And I think it's going to be a low scoring game. So, I mean, if we can, keep the Giants to I think if we score 20, that's probably enough to win. I'll leave it at that.
I agree.
So,
Yep.
all right. And then I guess really quick, just to kind of toss out our thoughts for the season. Again, I don't think anyone's expecting us to go playoffs, but what does a successful Vikings season look like to you this year? What's something you're like hoping to see?
Yeah, I think we've both talked about it over the last couple of years, so I'm sure you'll reiterate exactly what I'm thinking. But I just want to see a better defense, right? We got absolutely destroyed near across the board. Corners always got destroyed. Safeties over the top was one of the hardest things to watch. So I just want to see second year improvement from a lot of guys and see some of our rookies step up. So for me, if we see some type of noticeable improvement in that and in that scheme, I think that'll be great. Offense, there's always going to be learning curves, but again, they should be pretty solid, at least middle of the pack, in my opinion, in the NFL. But we need to see that defense step up, and I think we'll be feeling better going into then 2025.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with the JJ injury, McCarthy injury, that kind of takes everything out there. I'm not expecting anything out of the running game. Receiving in line, we kind of know what they are. So for me, offense is pretty locked. It's just defense with how many different guys we went out and got for those like 1-year contracts. Do any of them make enough of a showing where they're going to stay on next year? And then with us having, obviously crazy cap space heading in, even with the extension to Jefferson, if we can have a defense be top half and look somewhat competent, that makes me a lot more excited to be like, okay, now we actually get to see McCarthy come in. We can go spend some money and get a couple more top end guys to like bolster the defense or maybe some O-line help. That will make me feel, even if we go 3-14, if our defense looks 15th or better, I think I'll feel like there's a chance for me to be hopeful in 2025. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. All right. Moving into the NFL pick'em side of things. So last couple of years we did this, but last year we switched over to picking 2 teams every single week. And how this works is we're picking just straight up win-loss, not against the spread. You have to use every single team throughout the year. So once I use the Chiefs, they're done for the year. That's it. So you're trying to kind of play the game of picking good matchups while also saving good teams for later and kind of locking up that win. Tyler won this the first year we did it when we did the just 1 team per week, and Nick was in second and I was in third. Last year we had the exact same top 3 in a different order. So I had the first place with 25. So I guess that's now the new record to beat with us doing full 32 teams. And then Tyler was right behind me with one less, and then Nick was 2 behind him. So we got all the same returning people this year. We'll just kind of run them through. I'll let Tyler make the pick shortly. If anybody else wants to play and you missed this week, if you want to get in next week, give me 4 teams. We'll toss you in 2. We're doing $10. It was pretty fun last year. It was pretty neck and neck throughout. So let us know if you're interested. But I'll kick Tyler over to the week 1 fairly consensus picks here.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody was kind of on play it safe mode. It seemed like for week 1, there's a lot of close spreads as you'll see if you've looked at any of the betting into week 1, and that tends to be that way. But usually there's a few more kind of big favorites into week 1, and there hasn't been that this year. So a lot of us went with consensus Cincy over Patriots. I think we're going to see a lot of over Patriots this year, unfortunately. So sorry, Pats fans. But Jack, myself, Nick, Nate, I think we all have Cincinnati over New England, and then Jack, myself, and Nick all have Seattle over Denver as well. So I think that's a pretty good one as well. Going on to Nate, he's got the Saints over Carolina. Mac, he's going Buffalo over AZ, so using the Bills early. So we'll see how that works out for him. And then Seattle over Denver. Foster going Saints over Carolina, and Falcons over Steelers. So that could get interesting. So I will not be surprised on that one. New revamped offense, but we'll see how it goes week 1. Connor, same thing, Cincy over New England and Atlanta over Pitt. And Joe is going Minnesota over the Giants, and then Saints over Carolina.
He's a Packers fan, so I'm pretty sure he's just doing it to be voodoo, where he can be like, it's a win-win either way. But if I have to pick like one, I'll try to do that where I pick a game or like out of all of our predictions. If I had to pick one this week, the Falcons over the Steelers scares me. I think everybody's big on the Falcons, yourself included, being your team, expecting a step up this year. But the Steelers are that weird team that like always plays really, really good defensively, and they kind of steal some of these wins that they're not supposed to. So I don't know that I'd be rolling that out early on when I feel like the Falcons are going to have a lot of other either blowouts or pretty easily won games. So that's interesting. Seeing two people pick that, I was a little surprised, but yeah, I had mine locked in early, and I didn't even realize yours were the exact same until just now. So seems
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, I did mine earlier today as well, and just I hadn't input them yet, but yeah, it was certainly more of a play it safe for me. And again, I certainly like the Falcons this year, but they play in the NFC South. There's much better matchups
Yeah.
than the Steelers down the line that I can play. It turns out you have to play the Panthers twice, so I can at least, if nothing else, take them out during one of those.
Yeah, and I remember it happening last year too, where the first like 2 or 3
Mm-hmm.
weeks, I know I struggled, and I think a lot of people did because we were all like, these are the teams that are supposed to be good, but you were trying to kind of be cutesy with it. I don't think anybody really ever knows what's going to happen at the start of the season, so I'm trying to just pick consistent teams or pick against really, really bad teams, not be cute. I'll figure it out with the teams that I didn't save later on. So
Exactly. Yep.
all right, moving into the Minnesota season-long pick'em, they do a little differently where they're picking every single win-loss every single week. So rather than us trying to save 2 and 2, you're just going like this game script. This coming week 1, we're picking all 16 winners basically, and tracking your wins losses throughout the entire season, seeing who wins those. In 2022, I won the whole thing at like 168 was my score, so that was really fun. The zoners gave away some memorabilia and clothes and hats and stuff like that, so really, really nice of them. They do it all for free, so if you want to get in on it, let us know. We can send the link. They can too. They're on Facebook, and it's on ESPN, so I'm sure everybody out there has at least one league already on ESPN. So and then 2023, last year, I lost by 1 point. So that was a lot of fun. I tied it and made some moves literally on the final week. And then it came down to like the Sunday night game of the Chiefs and Chargers that I'll never forget. And I had one, he had the other, and we lost. So
Don't worry, Jack's over it, guys.
I was so upset. I was so excited. I think they've done it 3 years, and I was trying to be the first one to win it twice. And I was so excited. But Tyler tried to get fancy towards the end and make up some ground. So the score was not realistic, but he was close through the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're trying to beat that. Week 1 winners, I think in the future, I'm going to try to see if I can maybe just like screenshot or like find something we can just post up, because I don't want to read off the teams every single time because it's boring to listen to. But for this week, I'm just going to say the winners because I don't care about who they're playing. You guys can figure it out for yourselves. But Chiefs, Eagles, Falcons, Bills, Bears, Bengals, Texans, Dolphins, Saints, Vikings, Chargers, Seahawks, Cowboys, Lions, and 49ers. Those are all currently the favorites that I put in like 3 days ago. There's a handful that I'm switching up now. I think I am going to go Ravens over Chiefs, which is like 34% versus the Chiefs, just because I think everybody's all on the Super Bowl high. But I just think the Ravens are going to come out defensively and be a little bit of a surprise. I think the Chiefs will be fine even without a win here. And I just see the Ravens having a little bit more of an edge to play for versus kind of the Super Bowl win hangover, so to speak. So there's a few other very, very close, interesting ones. I think like I'm curious about looking what the Commanders are going to look like versus the Bucks. I think the Raiders Chargers game could be interesting. Saints and Panthers, I could see an upset because I think the Saints are going to be garbage this year. So there's a handful. But Tyler, are there any that stand out to you that are the non-consensus picks?
Yeah, I mean the two that I listed when I first did it is Titans over the Bears. I can certainly see that. I mean, Caleb Williams first game, you never really know what you're going to get out of it, and it's not like the Bears defense is super great, right? That's a totally new regime in Tennessee, and Tennessee has a great defense that hasn't gone away. And now you get Will Levis chucking the ball all around to get a new shiny toy and Ridley and Hop and Tony Pollard. So I can certainly see them upsetting the Bears straight up. And same thing in a divisional matchup, Raiders Chargers. Again, both teams are not great. You really have no idea what you're going to get out of either team, but I think you have a little bit more of an idea of what you're going to get out of the Raiders. The Chargers defense is absolutely brutal. I don't know who's going to stop Devontae. I don't know who's going to stop Jacoby, and Antonio Pierce is going to just grind out a clock with Zamir White and Alexander Madison. Barf, I guess. But regardless, I think they're going to play a relatively low-scoring game, and that can flip-flop either way. Comes down to like a late Devontae Adams touchdown or late field goal or something like that, and I can see the Raiders pulling it out.
I weirdly have more confidence in this game of Levis being able to move the ball through the air than Herbert, because we don't know what their receiving options are going to look like to start 100%. The year. Like everyone assumes it's Ladd McConkey, but like same thing as Caleb. Maybe he starts slow as a rookie and still is figuring stuff out. QJ is QJ. Joshua Palmer is steady, but like the Titans could just hit you with a Ridley bomb at any time. So I could see like a 2017 kind of steal. So Rather than me listing off every one of my underdog picks, I'm going to specifically pick one underdog of the week. Shout out to Glick for that name. And it's basically just going to be not necessarily a team that I think is going to straight up upset, but it's going to be like the one that's a surprising. I'm not trying to do this like 45% underdog. I'm trying to be like more of a surprising one that people are just writing off and is going to like make it closer than you're expecting. Maybe they pull out the win, maybe they don't, but like it's not a walk away easy win. So for this week, I'm going with the Commanders over the Bucks. I think the Bucks winning the division last year kind of skewed some stuff because I don't think they were amazing by any means. It was just a bad division. And I think the Commanders are going to surprise people this year. I definitely think they're obviously better than the Giants, but I think they're going to be flirting with like playoff wildcard spot more than people expect. That's kind of one of my more spicy feelings. So I know I'm not super in on rookie quarterbacks normally, but I think Jaden being explosive is enough to maybe make this close over a not super exciting offense. And the defense isn't what it used to be with the Bucks anymore either. So I think him, Terry McLaurin, they got Zach Ertz as old reliable until he turns into dust for 3 weeks from now. So them I could see as kind of the surprising upset week one. So that's my pick.
Like it.
All right, moving into general fantasy segments now. We're going to be going into a fan favorite of a little thing called swimming upstream.
Keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
Can't not be happy. It makes me smile every time. It might be the whiskey that I'm drinking, but it's mostly. So
I'll update it and I'll cut a video of it, and so people who like to watch on YouTube, I'll cut a video in next time.
Yes, love it. So for those of you that live under a rock and don't know what swimming upstream is, I'd be shocked if you listen to our show and don't, because it's my like favorite thing that ever got made up. Like I made it back with Walters back in the day 3 years ago. And I have been the proponent of, I don't take quarterbacks early in like any draft. And so I started doing a thing where it's just, let's see how we can do compared to a regular season of like a high drafted quarterback if we just streamed a new one every single week. So what Tyler and I do is we pick somebody under the 50% ESPN roster threshold. That way it's not subject to us picking out of our league where maybe there's less quarterbacks drafted or another league where more are drafted. It's just 50% or less. It's definitely not the top 12 quarterbacks, and we just play matchups and see how we do. We combine all those scores and we see how we finish at the end of the year. Fun fact, record keeping wise, we've done this the last 2 years together. In both seasons, one of us finished as the QB5 and the other one finished as QB 12, 13. So clear winner and loser in each. We've each split it basically. But the fact that one of us is at QB5 every year and the other one still basically finishes as a QB1 is goes to show you can make it work. And this is with low options. We're never picking the same guy. We always take turns. So I mean, it's impressive it's held on that long. I'm waiting for it to do like a QB 18 and 20 season, but we'll see.
Yeah, I almost did, but had to tail end of the season. I had a nice little run to finish it up. I was about QB 17 until week 14, and then I just kind of got a couple 22s and 24s and jumped up there. So
that's all you need.
We made it.
So, we split 1-1 each. I'm the current one, but Tyler has the all-time record by like 16 more points total. So we're trying to see if we can break that 337-point record. That was like a 19.8 average. So this one, Tyler's kicking things off first. So I'll let you talk about your pick.
Yeah, for week one, I'm gonna go the opposite of Jack's upset pick. So I'm gonna take Baker against Washington. I just think the defense isn't that great, and Baker's gonna throw it all over the field. Rashad White had one of the least efficient seasons as a running back last year. And again, I think to your point though, Washington is going to have a sneaky good offense. That it's not just like, hey, they're going to be up by a whole bunch and they're just going to be able to like run out the clock. Baker loves to throw it around. He's got plenty of weapons between Mike Evans and Godwin and Rashad White out of the backfield as well. New toy and Bucky Irving too. So I think Baker continues to do what he does. Sling it, and Washington keeps it close enough that they're not just content running out the clock. So give me some Baker Mayfield week one.
I like that. He was my second option. So I'm going to go with my QB1 this week. Swimming upstream pick is going to be Geno Smith for the Seahawks versus the Broncos. Mm-hmm. It's partially a byproduct of playing the Broncos. Their secondary is already injured. Everybody's kind of new and upcoming. They've got new offensive and defensive coaching. There's a lot of different moving parts. Smith had a rough down year last year, but the year before that, he was pretty solid. So I think he's got the potential. He certainly has the weapons. We're talking about a JSN potential breakout year that a lot of analysts are talking about. So I think he's got the people to move it downfield. I don't think you're going to have to do a lot against this Denver defense. And I think he's going to be like a safe guy that should have like a floor of 14. But if you get me like 17, 18, I feel like it's going to be a win. So I'm feeling pretty good about him compared to all the other options on the slate this week.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
So yeah, we'll just keep that going next week. We just alternate who picks first, and we'll see how we track it. We'll update you guys as we go. I'm sure one of us is going to flop right out of the gate, so this will be super fun when Gino throws like 3 picks against the Denver defense. All right, now we are into the meat and potatoes of our draft, cruising along here. The big one that we're doing is the divisional breakdown. So what we're going to do is we're going to be predicting the divisional standings, 1st through 4th. Won't go into a whole lot of reasons why, but then we'll just go kind of division by division. If either of us has a bold prediction for one of the teams in this division, if not, we'll move along. I don't have one for every single one, surprisingly, and I only have 2 in one division this year. And then, that's pretty much it. So we'll do a couple other predictions at the end, but we'll kick things off with our own division, the NFC North. So Tyler, tell us why the Vikings are winning.
I'll tell you why they're winning. They're not. I'm going to be pretty chalky, would be my guess. So I'm going to take the Lions at the top. I'll take Packers in second. I'll say the Bears take third, even though I want to say the Vikings, but I can see us being cellar dwellers. So I think Lions defense is good enough. I think Packers defense isn't good enough for them to win the division. So give me Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm the exact same, so I won't build a whole lot on that. I hope we take 4th. If we're not going to win the whole thing, I hope it just is a rebuild year and give us a good pick. So a little surprised how many people are picking the Packers like clearly confidently as the division winners after the last couple of years the Lions have had. So I feel pretty safe with the Lions this year, but so we'll leave it at that. Consensus for both of us on all 4. Do you have a bold prediction for any team in this division?
Nothing for this one.
Okay. I have one. I've kind of already talked about it as a buy guy this year, but I also went a little step further on a comparison. So for me, DeAndre Swift, who I have been outspoken about hating, so we know it's going to be negative. You'll appreciate this one as an I told you so kind of thing, but DeAndre Swift is going to be this year's Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is he had a decent year with a team. He left that team and went to a way worse situation. They gave him a shit ton of money and he's going to bomb. So not only is that, I don't think that's like a bold enough one. So I'm trying to make it a little bit more spicy, but I'm going to say that he fantasy wise ends up not even being the best running back on his own team. Whether that comes from Khalil Herbert or Roshan Johnson, I think they're going to give at least one of them more of the work. I think Herbert can pretty much do everything Swift can do, and Swift gets hurt all the time. And I think Roshan is like the perfect fit for this offense with like the ground and pound type of thing, and a guy you would want to give the rock to with Caleb in there as a rookie. So I want one of them to step it up and not have it be a 3-headed monster. But I'm going to say that Swift doesn't even win the RB1 spot on this team. So fantasy wise.
Love it. It's a tough fall coming from the Eagles over to the Bears. It's just not the same.
It was the same with Sanders. He went from the Eagles to the Panthers. I'm like, this is perfect. I don't know why we're not talking about like the similarities more, but yeah. Exactly. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be by injury, which I'll take the win either way. Yeah. But if not, I think they could still outplay him. So I'll put those in later so that I can remember how off I am by the end of the year. But next we will move into the NFC South with your boys. I'm assuming you're taking them one.
I am. I'm gonna take the jump up. I think it'll still be a close division as it always is. It's not a super great division, but it always a close division. So I'm gonna go Falcons, Bucks, Saints, Panthers.
I flip-flopped the bottom 2. I'm going Panthers Saints with a little mini surprise. I think the Panthers, not that they're gonna step up a ton this year. I'm gonna murder this fly and ruin everything. Not that the Panthers are going to be leaps and bounds, but I do think they'll be a little bit better. I think they can make some improvements. I mean, once you get Jonathan Brooks back and healthy a little bit, Deontay Johnson, I think, is going to be a great addition. Bryce can't be worse than he was last year. So,
true.
But this is more for me, my feeling on the Saints. I think the Saints are going to be one of the kind of surprise, like bottom dweller, just garbage teams this season. Their coach has been saying all the wrong things about his players. Carr is Derek Carr. There's just not a whole lot of other stuff going on. So only difference there. But yeah, I think the Falcons, if they get 10 wins, probably win the division. So bold predictions for you. Do you have any?
I got two.
Oh, good. I don't have any, so it's all you.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to, I guess, quadruple down at this point. Give me Kyle Pitts. I believe in it. I can't quit it. I have no, it's just so brutal. But
I snorted whiskey. I started laughing.
I thought that was a reaction to Kyle Pitts being
was.
tight end 2 on the year.
Oh my!
He's going up there. Everybody was just like, hey, the talent is there, but the situation hadn't changed. Now this year, the situation has changed. Completely different coaching staff and a completely different quarterback, a competent quarterback, an accurate quarterback. One of the most accurate in the NFL in Kirk Cousins. So give me a totally new situation. Bolts Kyle Pitts all the way up to somewhere around the tight end 2-3 range. So
not
I love
a tight end 2, but the tight end 2.
Tight end 2. So give me that. He's going to play outside. He's going to play inline. He's going to get the targets. He's healthy beyond, the hamstring injury that just came out earlier this year or earlier today. But he said he's going to be 100%. So Kyle Pitts, tight end 2 overall this year. That sounds like
damn.
Fun.
That is a spicy meatball. Was that one? Do you have a second one still?
I do have a second one too.
So
for your Saints that you think are going to be so bad, I love me some Alvin Kamara. He is going to get so many targets. Derek Carr is captain check down. I went through and looked at the stats over the last handful of years. He's made the list of highest checkdowns percentage of plays over the last 6 years. He's been within the top 5 every single year for the past 6 years. Almost 9% of his throws are considered check down. So that's top 5 in the NFL over the last 6 years. Kendry Miller is out. They really don't have anything beyond Chris Olave to get the ball down the field. I mean, Juwan Johnson, really nothing else on that roster. So Derek Carr loves to throw to his running backs already. Kamara is an amazing pass catcher, very shifty. So give me Kamara, who's going right now as RB17, finish top 8 as in half PPR.
In half PPR, I was like in PPR for sure. Half PPR is even more spicy. I like it.
I'll go half PPR.
I was waiting for you to say running back 1, and I was like, I can see that, but tight end 8, that's impressive. I will say that's a spicy meatball also. All right.
I think you muted yourself.
Let's move on to the NFC East. Just technical difficulties. I'm going to fire my producer. All right. This one I am interested in because I feel like you could make an argument for a lot of different combinations, but we'll let you kick it off again here.
You could. I didn't do anything too spicy, so I'm going to go Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants.
I also did the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it was flip-flopped on the Eagles and Cowboys. I think my biggest shake-up there is just what I mentioned before. I think the Commanders are going to push for that surprise 7 wild card spot. I think they'll be higher versus just saying 3 finish, but yeah, it was something, I don't remember how many years, but it was 10 plus 15 maybe, that there's been a different division winner in the NFC East every single year, and the Eagles would have to win it this year because the Cowboys won it last year. So I'm like, well, that's my tiebreaker, so I'm going to go with them. So just a crazy stat, but yeah, I think we all agree the Giants are last. So any crazy predictions for this one?
Nothing for this one.
Perfect. I've got 2. No, I've got 1, but it's a really long one. So I'm gonna keep it concise. I'm gonna time myself for 60 seconds here. It's a guy that I feel very okay. Okay. So my bold prediction for the NFC East is a guy that I am very much big believer in. I'm gonna say Devontae Smith straight up outscores AJ Brown this year. Not super spicy because they've both been pretty consistent, but Devontae Smith's been wide receiver 20 and 10 his last two years. Surprisingly healthy for a guy everyone talked about was going to be tiny and get banged up all the time. But what he excels at, for people that followed him back in college, is playing the slot, and it's something that he really hasn't done a lot for the Eagles in the NFL. So looking at what kind of Philly's moves have been this offseason and what that's kind of telling us, they signed Devontae Parker, who granted he retired shortly after, but he was consistently a perennial outside guy. Shortly after he retired, they went out and immediately traded for Jahan Dotson, which most people felt like that really didn't move the needle a lot, but he's more of an outside burner guy. So clearly they've tried twice now to find somebody else to fill that role. And I promise you it's not because they're going to try to move AJ Brown on the inside. It's going to be for Devontae Smith to get those slot targets. and adding on to that, like he's already got the wide receiver 2 baseline with a wide receiver 1 finish in his first 3 years, and he's young. AJ Brown's always getting older. There's injury question marks. I'm not basing it off of that. I am very, very excited for the Eagles offense this year because they're bringing in Kellen Moore, who we've all talked about. He runs the offense so fast a pace that I think there's going to be so many more plays going on. It's going to be quick tosses. It's going to be like fast little like dump offs and slots and crosses type like that. So, looking at Kellen Moore's offenses in recent history since 2019 in terms of pace of play, he has been 1, 1, 1, 1, and 4. The Eagles last year were 29th in terms of pace of play. So looking at that, I think we're just going to see a very, very different offense looking. And then Kellen Moore has also had success with CeeDee Lamb and Keenan Allen, both guys that aren't typically in the slots, but they always move to the slots in his offense in 3 wide receiver sets. This is what the Eagles are going to run this year. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to find a way to hyper target his receivers, especially his slot guys. And I think because of that, even in half PPR, but especially in PPR, we're going to see crazy volume for Devontae over AJ Brown.
Very nice. How do you think you did, Jack? Within
like a minute 47.
2 minutes on the nose.
Oh, okay, well, I had
For
a
those
lot.
that don't know, Jack loves to talk. When he gets his takes, he is all about it. He's like, I'm gonna be concise.
I
he
pull
just
up
can't
stats, and then I don't know how to like whittle them down or word them well because I'm like, well, I got all these stats, and I have to say all my key points. I can't just not cover it. So otherwise, it just looks like I'm just speaking out of nothing. Where I'm like, he's gonna score more, but I don't have a reason why to back it up. So
it's hard.
I'll do better on the next one. That's the only one that's more than 3 lines. I like started typing and I just went off about Devontae Smith and was like, Jesus. Okay. So
I like it though. Yeah. And a Kellen Moore offense, give me the guy. Pre-snap motion is going to be the massive thing. And that's going to really help Devontae Smith over the middle. And like you said, Dotson down the field, AJ Brown down the field, jump ball guy. Give me that underneath stuff for Devontae.
How do you think you did? That was 8 seconds compared to my 2 minutes. So
wasn't my take.
Damn it. All right. NFC West. I'll let you kick it off once again.
NFC West, again, probably pretty consensus. I'm going to go 49ers, Rams. I'm actually going to go Cardinals and Seahawks. Actually, Cellar Dweller.
I'm actually also doing the same thing. I already had the Cardinals.
Nice.
I think they're taking a step up, kind of like the Commanders this year. Not quite as much, but I think the Seahawks are going to be similar to the Saints, where they're going to surprisingly be bad. So,
yeah.
Any bold takes for you on this team division?
Just one for this one, and one I think a lot of individuals have kind of seen or kind of potentially in on that. At least Jack and I have seen. It seems like he's just going way too high when it comes to draft. So I'm pretty out on Puka Nacua this year, and the big reason is Cooper Kupp is healthy. They played 11 games together last year when they were both healthy. Kupp absolutely smashed him in 8 of those 11 games, tying him in targets or out targeting him in 8 of the 11 games they played together. So somebody who's going in tail end of wide receiver 1, or tail end of round 1 at wide receiver 8, and somebody like Cooper Kupp who's going wide receiver 20. I think they flip flop. I think Cooper Kupp regains wide receiver 1 status, and Puka drops down to like wide receiver 18.
Okay, that's fair. I think 18 would still be like I'm not calling for him to bomb or anything either, but I think that's like you would feel disappointed where you're drafting him.
Yeah,
but
wide
it still is like
18 is 3 rounds.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then I think next year everybody will overdraft Kupp and it'll be like taking both of them in the second kind of thing, and the couple get hurt and it'll just keep the cycle going. But I think this is going to be a year where Puka struggles a bit, and then maybe his dynasty value drops, and you can try to like target that more, because I believe in him long term, and especially with Kupp getting older and older. It's just I saw him into the first round in so many leagues this year, and I was like, what are we doing? Like, I would take so many other guys into the second over him personally.
Yep.
So
agreed.
All right. For me, exact same standings as far as the I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna time myself and I'm gonna watch it. And I swear to God, because this one is another player, 2 players that I love, so it's gonna be tough. But my spicy prediction for the NFC West is gonna be that Kyler and Trey McBride as a duo outscore Mahomes and Kelsey as a duo this year.
Ooh.
We'll say PPR. I think this is the year that Kelsey finally is going to fall off fantasy-wise. I'm sure he'll still be dominant whatever he wants to, but you saw them last year begin to like game script and pitch count him to save him for the playoffs, and we all know that they're going to go for the 3-peat this year, so don't be surprised if he starts to go a little bit less involved in games just to save his body. There's a ton of other emerging tight ends this year that are the focal points, like McBride is still going to be, even with Marvin Harrison, and the Chiefs finally have a decent wide receiver core. And then on top of that, I think that the Chiefs are going to lean on Pacheco and the defense early and often, so Mahomes isn't going to dominate. As my last little piece to this, in the last 4 years, only 2 QBs have averaged more than Kyler Murray's 24 points a game, one being Mahomes and 2 being Josh Allen. So I feel like that just points to, we forget how good Kyler is when he's healthy, and I think he can close the gap with Mahomes, and McBride breaks out this year.
I love it.
59, baby. That's what
Nailed
we're
it.
talking about. Yeah, I have been banging the drum on both of them. Kyler was basically my guy for quarterback, and I just went with Jaden to be spicy. But I think this is the year that Mahomes will still be great in the NFL. He's just going to take a step down from QB2 where he's being drafted in fantasy, and Kelsey's going to be like tight end 5-6 just because we don't see the volume again. So
Yeah, I can definitely.
we'll see how close we make it.
Yeah,
and
I'm
go
I'm
ahead.
an idiot, and I have another one because I forgot I put James Conner on my list as well. So
Do it.
Yeah. So again, I think just as Jack just talked about, this entire Cardinals offense takes a step forward. So James Conner right now, all of these reasons, healthy Kyler, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, talk about lightening a box for somebody. So he's being drafted as RB17 right now. Not terribly spicy, but give me James Conner to jump up into mid RB1 status. So it's kind of RB8, 9,
Okay.
10-ish is kind of where I'm at. So nothing crazy, but I think he's definitely going to be better than where he's gonna surpass his ADP.
Yeah, we forget that he's somehow a receiving back every single year, and he just gets the work, even though he's not the prototypical guy. Yep. And I think scoring wise, also, I think if he, it's just health. If he plays 14 games or more, I think he's a locked RB1. So it's like you don't take him and he's pushed down in the 5th, 6th round because of injury risk. But like every running back can get hurt, so I feel like he's a great value.
Yeah,
if I didn't love all the other, if I didn't love all the other Cardinals so much, I was telling Tyler off air, I would have drafted James Conner more. But I don't want a running back when I have the quarterback or the receiver or the tight end. Yeah. So. My other really quick one, I won't get into all the stats I wrote down, but I'm going to say another spicy take for this division. JSN flirts with not just outscoring Lockett finally, like everybody expected him to do last year, but in PPR, he's going to be close to outscoring DK is my spicy take. Yeah. Nice. Really bananas stat that I came across like a month ago and saved this. JSN is the only wide receiver in the past decade plus to be drafted in the first round, have 50 or more catches in his rookie year, and then not be drafted in the top 36 at his position next year. Every other one was like, great, 50 plus catches. He's on the up and up. He's going to improve. And he's wide receiver 40. Like, it doesn't make sense. So bringing in a new head coach, Brian Grubb, dude loved to use 3 wide receiver sets in Washington. And he used the slot decently, which I could see JSN doing a little bit more this year. So I think obviously Metcalf's going to have the yardage, probably the touchdowns, but it could get fluky and close. And I think JSN is going to surprise with like more receptions where it's all of a sudden a wide receiver 15 and wide receiver 20 kind of situation where you're like, why is he this close? And it hurts Metcalf. So
yeah, I can see that. DK leads the NFL in touchdowns this year.
I could also, that's fair. Yeah. Touchdowns can go one way or the other and completely swing it. So I might be way off. If
he's
he
a
gets
red
like
zone monster.
11 and JSN gets 2, then this won't look so good. But
yeah.
All right. Did the NFC. Look at that. And not even that crazy amount of time. So moving into the AFC. AFC North, I'll let you kick it off while I enter in the picks here.
So I'm going to pick the first and probably most obvious, worst to first. Give me the Bengals. I'm going to go Ravens, Browns, Steelers.
Yep, I did the same thing because I was really wanting to, out of spite, pick the Steelers 4th and have it be a losing season. So that's what I went with.
The Bengals are just they get such a benefit by playing a last place schedule, and people forget that that's how scheduling works. Essentially, you get to play other 4th place finishers the next year is essentially how the scheduling works. So by the Bengals having Joe Burrow get hurt and take last in the division, they get that easier schedule going into the year. That's how they have the parity year after year. So if you take first place in your division, you naturally play against all other division winners from that previous year. So the Bengals get that benefit of playing a last place schedule, and really they're just competing with the Ravens in that division. So I think the easier schedule pushes them from worst to first.
Yeah, that's fair. You jumped the gun on my question, so we'll move to the second most likely later on. But yeah, there's always a worst to first team, so it seems like it's pretty chalked up for the Bengals, who have already proven to be good. It's just a lot of people have the Ravens as the favorite in the AFC, so that's the only real roadblock. But yeah, I don't see the Browns really doing anything. I was tempted to put them as last two just because I just think their defense is all they got going for them. It's a great problem to have, but I think the Steelers and the Browns are both going to be like that, probably hovering around 500 type of team, and Watson and Russell will both be done, so to speak. So, how about any crazy predictions for this division?
None for AFC North.
I have one, and I promise it's short. Jerome Ford, steal of the draft this year. He's going to flirt with a top 15-ish running back by the end of the season. I think people are all assuming Chubb is going to be back way before he is. Not only like return period, but also when he's back, he's not going to be back. He's not going to be the Nick Chubb name recognition that we used to know. It's going to take like a handful of weeks of him getting some touches here and there and the crowd being excited and feel good moment and stuff. But like Ford will still be the guy. And I think this is going to be added to the fact that they're probably eliminated from the playoffs midway through the second half of the season. So I think they'll just kind of keep doing it with Ford, and offensive line's finally healthy for the Browns. That was a huge issue for them last year. I looked this up. Ford somehow had 63 targets as a running back last year, and I did not think he profiled as a receiving running back, but that's enough in half PPR to PPR, and there's nobody else. They have like Deonta Foreman behind him and nobody's. So I think he's a guy that you're getting in like the 9th round-ish right now, and dude could easily be a running back too for the first half of the season and maybe longer if Chubb's struggling. So all right, AFC South. This one I had issues with, so I'll let you start again.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Texans, and then it's kind of a toss up from there. So I went Colts, Jags, and Titans, even though I do think it's all very close.
This one I feel like the Colts makes the most sense as the number 2. I was torn between them and the Titans as 2. I have the Jags as 4, which I think is my spicy one, but I am going to go Titans second just to be different by more than one together. So I'll do Texans, Titans, Colts, Jags, because I think the Titans are just that weird team that if it weren't for the Bengals would be the one we're talking about as the worst, most improvement type of thing. So,
yeah.
All right. Spicy time.
Nothing for here.
Nothing. Okay. Well, I got one. Went all rookie wide receivers here in a class with Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Xavier Worthy. Brian Thomas is going to be the rookie leader in receiving yards this year. Reason I'm feeling that way, Calvin Ridley left 1,797 yards, air yards last year, and that was 8th among wide receivers. It was nothing but deep targets. Didn't always connect with Trevor Lawrence, but there was a lot. They like to send him deep. He's gone. Brian Thomas is a deep ball guy from college that the Jags don't have now that he's out of there. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, not really going farther than 15 yards past the line of scrimmage. So Brian Thomas in college had 1,177 yards and 17 touchdowns, which very good for a receiver in college, but he did that on only 68 catches, which is the crazy part. It was like 17.5 yards per catch. So I think it's going to be maybe a slower start, but I think he's going to be that like deep ball, just go and get it. And hopefully you get some jump balls and that's it kind of thing, where he's going to be like, probably not great statistically. It's not going to be a good PPR reception number. It's probably not going to be a lot of touchdowns, but he'll weirdly have like 900 to 1,000 yards and be kind of out of nowhere for that. So,
yep.
All right. AFC East.
Let's see here. I'm going to go. I put the Jets at the top. So we're going to go with the Jets win in the division. And then I'm going to go Bills, Dolphins, Patriots.
I picked a different division winner. It's not the Bills. I picked the Dolphins winning it, and then I went Bills, Jets, Patriots. I don't know why. I think the Bills and Jets will probably both be like 9-7 type of thing and fighting for who gets in the playoffs. But I think the Dolphins will win this one and step past the Bills.
Interesting.
Spiciness.
I didn't do anything for this one. I think I only got one left. And
okay. I have a quick one here, and it was kind of based off just like a weird stat that I heard. Josh Allen this is the first time ever in fantasy, apparently, that the QB1 in ADP that year doesn't have a wide receiver being drafted in the top 40. So just let that sink in for a second. My spicy take is he's not going to have a top 32 wide receiver, meaning every single team, however that breaks down. But he's not going to have a receiver that finishes as the top 32, so like borderline 3 flex type. And yet he's still going to find a way to be like a top 5 quarterback. So
yeah, that
It's
rushing
more on
floor
the front
is
end.
definitely
I think,
helpful.
yeah, I think it's going to just be Kincaid and spread out very, very evenly. Everyone's trying to take their shots on one guy who's going to break out. I think they all get like 500 to 600 yards. It's going to be like the Chiefs from a few years ago and just spread it out, and then Josh Allen keeps running the ball in. So,
Yep.
I'll say QB3 because QB5 doesn't seem that spicy when he's being drafted as one. I'll say he still finishes top 3 and doesn't have a receiver out. So,
Yep.
all right, last one, AFC West.
Yeah, this one is actually kind of tricky. And so I'm going to go Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos. And I wanted to put the Chargers at 2 just to be kind of a little bit more spicy, but I'm going Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos.
We are very different on this one too. I can't believe you put your Broncos in the last spot.
They're not going to be good.
Yeah,
They're not going to be good.
I went Chiefs. I have Chargers surprising at number 2 as a debut year for Harbaugh. I actually have the Broncos 3rd over the Raiders. I think that Bo Nix, like you've talked about mostly a lot, so I can't take credit for this one, but I think he will be better than people expect. And I think their defense will be enough for them to win a few 17-14 type of games where they're both going to be bad, don't get me wrong. But I think the Broncos sneak past the Raiders that are still finding their identity, and Devontae probably throws a tantrum and tries to get traded halfway through the year. So, all right, last spicy take.
Yeah, my last one for the Raiders, Zamir White. A lot of people probably don't even know the name. He came on at the end of last season with Josh Jacobs on his way out, being drafted as an RB24 right now. So essentially, you can say an RB2. The Raiders are bad, and Zamir White is not a pass catching specialist whatsoever. They brought in Mattinson, and they also like Dylan Laube, Laube, for those that don't know him. Antonio Pierce wants to run the ball, but it's very hard to run the ball when you're down 17 plus points. It just doesn't work out like that. So my prediction is within 5 weeks, Zamir's not even startable on your fantasy team.
Which means Mattis season, baby.
I don't know. Give the rookie the run.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Please, God, no. Just no Madison. They're both going to be rough.
It's going to be bad.
I'm good with that one. I think they're both going to be like, well, Madison already is, but I think Zamir is going to be like a drop candidate through the first quarter of the season or so. So I like that one. Mine is a bold prediction talking about, this is going to shock you, talking about Rashee Rice. So I think he is going to break the Chiefs franchise receptions record, which is currently, I looked it up because I was curious, it is 111. So I think he breaks that reception record. And then last year, through the 11 games post-bye into the playoffs when he was on that crazy run and they were like using him as the focal point of the offense, even over Kelsey, he was on pace for 112. And that was in his rookie season. So I think even with the addition of Xavier Worthy, even if Kelsey's still there, I think he hits like the 120-ish targets mark and goes bananas with just like receptions crazy. Maybe not yardage, maybe not touchdowns, but I think he's going to get a lot of catches. So breaks the receiving reception record.
Very nice. I like that one.
Yeah. Trying to do a couple of my guys in there. All right, we did it. We got through the whole divisional breakdown.
Nice.
Oof. We already kind of talked about this with any team that can go worst to first. So we'll take the Bengals out, but I had the other 7 listed here. And for the listeners, we got Bears, Titans, Chargers, Cardinals, Panthers, Commanders, and Patriots. Do you believe any of them could, or is it just going to be an 0 for 7 trying to take first?
I don't know that any of them can. I can see the Titans, but that'd be really spicy. They just have a really good defense. So if somehow Will Levis takes a massive step and CJ Stroud takes a massive step back, the Texans defense isn't good. So they have to play those high scoring games. So if they have those off days and the Titans defense continues to be good and Will Levis takes a big step forward and all of those things, I guess I could see that one, but that would be the closest. But the rest, I just don't see a path. Chargers, Cardinals, Panthers, Commanders, Patriots. I just can't see it.
Yeah, Commanders are the ones I expect to take the biggest jump from last year, but they got 2 teams above them to worry about, whereas a lot of these others have like one clear guy. So the only other one that I think could at least push for like number 2 in their division is the Cardinals. I think we could see some interesting stuff because we don't know what the Rams are going to do, and the Seahawks are not great. So they're probably the next closest, but yeah, I would agree with the Titans maybe having the best shot because people might just overinflate the Texans after last year. All right, last one as far as divisional /record /whatever goes. Do you have a Super Bowl prediction early on?
Ooh, I can honestly say I haven't really thought about it too much. as much as I want to say, just like be like, oh hey, the Chiefs are going to get back there. I don't even want it to happen. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to say that too. So let's go spicy and let's go. The Bengals figure it out, and we'll have them play against the Lions. I think that would be fun.
I brought 2 jerseys just for this occasion. I am currently wearing the Ravens, and they're going to play the Lions in the Super Bowl. Also.
Ooh, nice.
So I think defenses are both exciting. Offenses
Agreed.
are both taking huge steps and have added weapons at this point. So
Yep.
I would be happy with those 2. I would be sad with the Chiefs. So we'll see.
Me too.
All right. Now that everybody has stopped listening, we're going to run through our quick unique leagues, which there's not a lot to talk about because there's no games that have been played. So we're not going to break down all of our rosters or anything crazy. We're just going to mention them at this point of like what the league is, what's going on, and then move on from there. So we'll keep it real quick with this. But first off, shout out to the friends of the show, the Minnesota Sports Crew. Minnesota's Listener League is going on for the first time this year after I bugged them incessantly. So Tyler and I each have a team joining friends of the show, Matt, DJ Matty C, and Voldy the Shield, as well as 8 of their devout listeners. So it's just going to be a matter of whether we can kind of have them step into our ring and show them all up or look like we're dumb. So
yeah.
I checked really quickly. Apparently, I am number 1 in the power rankings post draft, which every other league I'm in, I'm like 6 to 10. So this is new for me, but I think it's only because I have McCaffrey. That's about it.
Always helpful.
Yeah, getting him, and then I went PPR mode with McCaffrey, Marvin Harrison, Drake London, and Cup. It feels very nice. So
yeah,
Tyler was super active in that draft. He definitely didn't.
It definitely
disappear.
It didn't totally disappear or have kids that I was putting to bed or anything like that.
That's not
totally not happening, and I totally didn't draft 2 people on the same team.
with your first 2
rounds,
picks,
with my first 2 picks. Yeah, I definitely wanted Saquon instead of Garrett Wilson. Come on.
Listen, I need running backs.
What can
if you
do?
Want Marvin Harrison or your boy Drake London that I took at the back of the
Lord.
2, you can have one of them instead. I mean,
no.
All right. Moving on. We
Worth a
won't
shot.
talk about that one too much, but the next one, the FFPC Co-League, I'll let you cover this one since it's your baby.
Yeah, so FFPC, for those that haven't heard of it, is the Fantasy Football Players Championship. So it's a little bit more of a, I guess we'll call it bigger money league than a lot of individuals are used to. But I played in it last year and ended up winning my division thing. So essentially I got a free berth into this year. And how it works is you play in, there's 2,000 entries, and you're put into a 12-person league. And then the top couple from those leagues, whoever wins those 2 leagues, go into essentially a final 3-week sprint. So kind of like a big tournament like you would do on like FanDuel or DraftKings or something like that. And then take your last 3 weeks combined if you win your regular season league, and then you win prize money from that. But again, had a free entry after winning my division last year. So me and Jack decided to put a team together for this. So it's a single QB, but it's a tight end premium. So what that means is, for those that haven't played it before, when your tight end gets a reception, you get 1.5 points versus 1 point. So it makes them a little bit more relevant. So we got a pretty good team, but we'll keep you looped in, as that's probably the biggest money one that we got going on. So hopefully we can bring some brotherly baller money home.
Yeah, I think we're top 3 in projected points week 1. So at least the system seems to like us, and none of our starters lost any kind of value despite drafting like a month plus ago. So that's good. All right, Bomb Squads and Butt Cheeks group, taking credit for the name once again. This one, a little bit different. We're going real unique leagues here, but nothing fantasy related. It's just 10 people, and we each drafted 3 NFL teams in a snake draft. Most wins of your 3 combined teams gets half the pot. Most losses gets half the pot. So pretty traditional to have you go kind of for one way or the other, depending on how the draft falls. In 2022, Eason and Al split for the winners, and I had the win for the losers. And then 2023, Al won, and Walters was the losers. So switching it up here into 2024, Tyler was mean and went for the losses with me this year, even though that's been my thing every year. But only 4 out of the 10 of us did it. So once again, the minority group just works out. So it's less people to fight with, which is great. My 3 teams, I started out with the Panthers. I think I had the 3rd pick. I was hoping for the Patriots, and it didn't work out. But I got the Panthers, Raiders, and Seahawks. So I think the last place teams in all 3 of my divisional breakdowns. Yeah. So
Yep, I think so. Yeah, and so I went with the losses because, again, I was sick of trying to go for the winners, and all of a sudden I'm at this 4 and 5 pick, and then we got 7 out of 10 people going for the winners. I'm like, okay, you guys don't even have competition for the bottom half money. So
Yeah.
I went that route, and I'm glad I did, because I was, again, the only one to switch. So I'm going to go for the loser side as well. And so I got the Broncos, the Giants, and the Cardinals. So I feel pretty good as well.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about between ours. I like yours more. I just think the Cardinals are the best of the 6.
I
So that's
agree.
my only hope.
They're my last pick, yeah.
Yeah, Cardinals, Seahawks, depending on how those land, it might be the tiebreaker of the two of us. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think Walter's team has a heavy favorite just having the Patriots because they're the only clear team. My 3 play, I looked it up, the Saints, Chargers, and Broncos this week, all very winnable games, which I don't love to see. So.
Very winnable. Yeah.
All right. Moving on into Guillotine. The Guillotine League,
man.
we love this one. So 18-team league, the bottom score gets dropped every single week. So if you have a rough week 1, you're out, and that's it. That's the end of your season right there. So it's a lot of fun when you get to make it through half of the season and do your bidding. But if you lose early on, it's the stupidest thing ever. So last year I took 2nd overall. It was my 3rd year straight of being in the top 3 and my 3rd year straight of not winning first. So that's a lot of fun for me. But I'm right there. So it's impressive in an 18-team league. Tyler, I know you were in it through the end. Were you 5?
Yeah, I think it was 5th. So I didn't quite make the podium for sure, but the previous years I had, I think I took 2nd and 3rd or something like that, and then 5th. So I'm usually right there. This year, this is the least I have liked my team going into it. It was absolutely terrible. I drafted horribly. So I love my receivers, so I'm really hoping they carry me, and I'm gonna have to hit the waiver wire pretty quickly, because I'm like, I got CD, Devonta Smith, Tank Dell, Deontay Johnson. So I got phenomenal target getters, but then my running backs are like Gus Edwards, Najee Harris, QB's Trevor Lawrence. It's not great. So I'm going to play a survival mode. I feel I need high floor.
I feel very, very good about my team starting out. If, for the love of God, Jamar Chase actually plays this week. If he doesn't play as my 1st round pick, I'm fucked. So, but having him and Cooper Kupp in a PPR league with a floor and an 18-team league, like having those two, I'd have them in a standard league. So I'd be a 12-team. So I like them. Montgomery feels safe. Dowdle continues to be safer and safer. And I took Jaden semi-early as my quarterback just for the high rushing floor. So I think if I can make it out of week 1 and Jamar just freaking plays, I'll be fine for a while. But I'm sweating it out here. So we will see. We'll keep you going, and hopefully we still stay alive because it's fun to actually talk about the bids and everything. Otherwise, I'm just going to delete this whole section. And then best ball, we won't talk a whole lot about that. But for people that play best ball, you do the draft, and that's it. There's no roster moves. There's nothing. You just set it and hope none of your guys get injured, and it makes the best lineup for all of your giant team every week for you. So Tyler is actually the defending champ in this league. Won it last year. Our slow draft is still going on. I think we're in round 20.
22.
None of the players matter anymore. It's just a joke. But any thoughts for people that don't play, or how you feel about your team, or just any quick little thought?
Yeah, you're probably not doing best ball drafts anymore, but essentially you're looking for those boom bust guys is really the only thing. So since you don't have to decide whether they play or not, you don't have to say, oh, hey, this is when a person is going to have a big week. That's why you don't get them in redraft leagues, but you're looking for those boom bust guys. You're looking for those Brian Thomases that are like, hey, 1 week they're going to have 0, but the next they're going to have 2 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns, and you get credit for that. So that's usually what it is. You're just looking for a high range of outcomes. And for me, it was nice. Defending champion, they were nice enough to give me the 1st overall pick. So I can't hate having Christian McCaffrey on my team. And ETN, Josh Allen, DK Metcalf, I got a pretty good start. I like my team.
Yeah, I like yours a lot. You went spread out, so it's not necessarily balanced. I'm always told you want to go really heavy wide receiver, and you did not do that, but I feel like you're going to have a really high floor everywhere else. So I don't know how to feel. I think I like a lot of my team, but I don't know that I have a lot of boom bust guys. I have Achane, who should be great as far as that. He was the boom bust king last year. And then Calvin Ridley and who's my other one? Mike Williams, if he plays. I went some of those guys that I would never, ever take in redraft, but just because of this. But everybody else feels very safe. So I feel like I'll probably be a top half team and a playoff team, but I don't know that I'm going to have the crazy spikes to beat a team when somebody scores 200. So that's my only concern there. Yep. But I don't really know what I'm doing, and I hate leagues where I can't make moves. So it's out of my hands now. Jesus, take the wheel. And that's it for the unique leagues. So we made that through in 10, 11 minutes. So that's pretty good. We'll try to keep that speed going throughout the year with how many different damn leagues we have. Really quick, as far as our main leagues, I'll let you cover as much or as little as you want. But Victoria's Secret, we're not going to do a whole draft grades breakdown because nobody likes them. Everybody thinks their team's the best anyway. So what's the point? But did you feel like any quick thought on like how you felt post draft with yours, or just the league in general? Since you're the commish, I'll let you kind of discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're in year 16. That's pretty crazy. So we made the switch. We moved over from ESPN to Sleeper, so it's just kind of a nicer interface, and a lot of us have multiple leagues on Sleeper anyway. So it was a good time to make the switch. As far as my team, we're in a half PPR league. I went pretty heavy wide receiver and kind of went to anchor running back. So I got Derrick Henry as my running back, but my wide receiver core is pretty nasty. I got Garrett Wilson, DK, George Pickens, Mike Evans. So we play two flexes for those that don't know. So in a half PPR league, having a monster receiving core was definitely nice. So I feel good. I feel somewhere in the top like 3 to 4 would be my guess is where I'm going to finish too. So I feel playoffs again, and I feel like I'm right around a podium team.
I have no idea how to feel in mine because every single player I took, except for like 2, I never planned on being there when I took them. So it was either guys that fell, or maybe I like was planning on going running back early and I went receiver instead. So I'm like, oh, what do I do now kind of thing. So I like a lot of my team. I think I got a lot of value, but it just was not players that I had in almost any other league. So CD falling to 4 was crazy to me. I didn't take Devontae in any other league, but I got him in the 3rd round. So he's my second wide receiver to pair with Trey McBride. So like all 3 should be very heavy target guys. Pacheco, I'm high on. Don't have him in any league except for this one. Montgomery, I'm high on. Don't have him in any other league except this one. So like I don't know how to feel. Quarterback, everybody took him so damn early, so I ended up just punting the position and going a Caleb Goff duo to see how Caleb starts the year. So that should be fine. I think for me, I didn't realize how many rookies I took. So I think it's going to be a matter of if I can find like one that actually builds up off of the hype, I'll feel great. Like Lad McConkey, Jonathan Brooks, Brian Thomas, who else did I have? Caleb Williams. Like if one of them can just kind of like step up and be the guy right off the bat, I feel amazing. If not, my entire depth is based on rookies and like home run swings. So my starters, great. My bench, very, very could go either way. So I don't know how to feel. I hope I'm a playoff team, but I've had very, very bad luck with injuries the last 2-ish years. So I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ironically, Tyler and I play each other week 1, so this is fun. And I looked at our projection. It's 104.6 to 104.7. So that's just absurd.
Goodness.
Yeah. I was like, I could not get closer. So yeah. All right. Well, Dynasty League wise, we got 2 of them. Do you have any pre-week 1 thoughts or any big moves in the off seasons you were proud of or anything like that?
I mean, for the Taco League, the toughest one is always going to be trading for Justin Herbert about 2 days before everything happened with the coaching regime change. So is what it is. But I made some what I felt were pretty savvy moves for some additional running back help. I had the 1.2 and I traded that to Jordan for Pacheco and 2 future first round picks. So I was like, so now my running backs are Bijan, Pacheco, and Jonathan Taylor and Javonte Williams. So I love that. My running backs are solid for the next 6 years.
Ever.
Forever. But my wide receiving core is hurting. I got Cooper Kupp and Lad McConkey. That's about it. So it's really bad. And especially in a half PPR league, it's not great to not have wide receiver depth. But my running back core is solid. So if I can address wide receiver in a draft sometime or through a trade, I'll feel much better. But I feel like I'm kind of lower middle of the pack.
I granted, I thought this last year, but I feel like you will be that like 6th spot. I feel like you'll be the playoff fringe team this year, just based on floor, which spoiler alert, I haven't announced all the voting and stuff yet, but we are switching to our 6th playoff team goes off of most points for total rather than the record, just in case there's any discrepancy in that. And I feel like Tyler will easily be that if he's not at least top 5 in record. So, yeah, for me, I swear to God, if it's anything less than a championship, it's a disappointment. So if I go 3 seasons in this league without winning, granted, season 1 was a tank, but last season and this season, I was the very heavy favorite. There's not a weakness in sight, and I just need to figure things out. I've got great depth I've got players where I'm like genuinely having start sit decisions on like running back and wide receiver twos and benching people that I shouldn't. So like maybe I need one more elite guy and like pool a couple of those twos in together. I don't know, but I need to do it this year. I had two big offseason acquisitions and basically trading both my 5th and 8th overall picks for Devon Achane and Ayuk, as well as sending Javante. But I really, really like those guys. I think they're both high upside swing guys. Thank Christ Ayuk came back to the 49ers, because if I would have had to start him as a Steeler, I would have cried. And then CD ended his extension too. So that was my big offseason, praying they both came back. So as far as the deflate these balls ones really quickly, I feel like my team is kind of in that one, like yours is in this one, where it's just like, I feel like I'm a mid team and I'm not bad enough to just tank it. I probably can make the playoffs at like the 5 or 6, but I don't feel like I'm good enough to win. My running backs are Eckler and Mixon with Dobbins. Like, they're not going anywhere, and it's a standard league. So even though my receivers are much better, it doesn't really help me a lot. So I don't know. I drafted Jaden Daniels, so that'll be interesting, because since I've come in this league, this is the 4th year, I haven't had a quarterback yet. So hopefully he's the answer, but I'm not really hopeful. I'm pretty middle of the pack.
Yeah, I like my team. I made a move exactly like you did. I made a move and I traded for CD. So I traded away like Brian Thomas and I traded away Achan as well. So to get CD. So I love my receiving core. If Anthony Richardson is now back and healthy, my team looks great. James Conner, Stevenson, Richardson, Olave, Lamb, Trey McBride, Cooper Kupp. I feel like I've got a really great team now. It has taken a long time to get to this point, but I feel like I'm now a playoff team, and I got like Javonte Williams and things like that on my bench. So I feel much better than I did last year.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. I got my one championship, and then since then it's been rough. So I'll take it. But it also, every time that I look at that league, it makes me realize how much I hate playing in just standard, where I'm just like, God, great wide receivers can just be useless at times, and it makes me sad. Tough. So for everyone out there, half PPR at least. We didn't have any exciting trades. The only one we had, which I won't get Tyler's gears grinding, but I traded Jerry Jeudy for a 2026 mid to late second, only because I had to cut down the roster space. Jerry Jeudy was my cut candidate. We'll put it that way.
I don't know how you did it. Foster. That's a big bet on resurgence on somebody who hasn't been good. Granted, I know the quarterbacks that have been thrown to him, but I mean, Deshaun hasn't been a whole lot better.
Bama receivers, man, I tell you. Literally, Tyler was like, I think I could get like a second for him, or at least a third. And he was like, a second? I don't know about that. And I'm like, I'm going to find anyone. It was a year out, so it's a little different. That makes it kind of like a third value now. But I don't care. I just needed to get rid of one guy so that I could make roster moves. So hopefully we have more exciting jack of all trades to talk about. Usually our Victoria's Secret one has some fun ones. So that's all we will say about that. And that's it. There's nothing else. There was a very smooth segue. We're not going to do any crazy draft because clearly we had too many things to talk about. If we can get future episodes down to like that 45-50 spot, maybe we'll pop that back in or do one here and there. But beginning of the season, too much to cover. So yeah.
Yeah, and we definitely will. And again, we won't have division predictions and those things that took up about 20 minutes. So we're going to be more succinct. That's definitely the goal with these. We know we like to talk, and so we got them up to an hour and a half before. That's just
damn you, Devontae Smith.
Yeah, exactly. So we're at just a shade over an hour right now, and again, so we'll take that 15-20 minutes out, and we're closer to like 48 to 55 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be the sweet spot for the year. So we'll be more succinct. Some of the other things that we've done in the past, we just didn't get as much interest in, kind of like the DFS spot and some of the betting spot. I'm just going to do kind of a standalone thing. So I'll do some of my own short videos, and it'll be easier because feedback wise, some people liked it, some people didn't like it. So if you're into that and you like betting stuff, feel free, text me. I'll send you videos. I'm still going to do that, especially now here in the Carolinas. We got all the betting apps are now live. So we have DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, and all that. So I can do some line shopping. I did really well last year. So if you're into that, let me know. I can start sending picks your way as well. But not going to do as much with DFS. If you want to play with us for fun, let us know. I'll send you the link. Jack and I are likely still going to do one every single week. But we'll just do it for fun.
Perfect. Yeah, works for me. If you guys have other thoughts now that we move away from the big kickoff of the season start, if you want to see like certain segments, or if you got like keep, trade, cut questions or start sit stuff, we'd love to do a weekly section of that. Or if you just want to hear more of the fun draft segments and have a good idea, or if you want to come on and draft against us too, we had a few guests last year and that was a lot of fun. So either way, now that football kicks off, we'll actually have stuff to talk about versus all just predictions and theories. So we're back to weekly. I mentioned that at the top. We will be back again. This is Wednesday night. We'll probably be back to Tuesday or Wednesday nights from here on out, kind of whenever our schedule works. So check our stuff out. We'll have the episodes posted usually by Thursday at the latest each week for you to have all your decisions coming up to Thursday Night Football, and watch it, check it out. Let us know what you think. Yeah.
That's
all
good.
right. Send us off, Tyler.
Football is back, everybody. Appreciate the listens as always. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, whatever they call it on the YouTube nowadays. So at 125, I want to see if we can get to 150 by the end of this season. So let's have some fun with it. But appreciate the comments and everything like that as well. We try to respond as quick as we can. So enjoy week 1, everybody. Until next time, Pod Squad. Peace out.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Brotherly Ballers podcast. Check out more content on youtube.com/@thebrotherlyballers.